Hello and welcome back. Today we have some replays that we can finally go over. Is with our Azamina Lair of Darkness deck. Azamina Sinful Spores Lair of Darkness, whatever. This is like the Diabell stars, like 16,000 archetypes in one. That's how it goes with the lore decks. But yeah. So we have this the Lair of Darkness with a bit of a combo of the Azamina stuff. It works decently well with each other. There's some cool synergies. I went over it in the previous deck profile. So I have a ton of replays, mainly because some of them are pretty short. The way this deck goes is that sometimes you grind it out a little bit, like very, very little grind, because this deck's a lot more explosive than other Lair of Darkness decks. So it can really finish off an opponent rather quickly compared to like just straight Bestial and Lair. But this deck is it's much more. There's so much more combo. We have the Dragoon package, which gets us a bunch of attacks. The Obolos comes out quite easily. I feel like this deck tributes a lot easier with the Sinful Deception of the Sinful Spoils. So you can really flood out the fields a lot more. You have all the Azamina fusions. You can get like 1 to 2 out, depending on like how late it is in the game. So this deck can do that a lot easier. These are a little bit of older replays. As you can see, we're playing 3 Super Poly is already at 2. This is from like a month ago. So yeah, I just never really got around to it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Just a heads up, some of these are activate a virus. My opponent loses 4, 5, 6, 7 cards, and they just go, all right, yeah, you got it, because they're down so much and they have to play through random negates. So yeah, if you guys like this, like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me out a ton. So yeah, let's get to it. All right, here we are for our first replay. We lose the coin flip, going second, and they start off with a chance in the main phase, which I can't even make fun of them. I do that too sometimes. I forget to toggle on. We go to the main phase, I drop my chant, and then I get drolled, and then I go, well, is what it is. This guy unfortunately does not get punished, and he's really going off here. And then he goes these two into Camellia, and I'm like, at first I'm like, oh, thank God it's not Mystical Space Typhoon, the Radiant Typhoon deck, because MST absolutely cooks our deck. But it is Sky Strikers with a small package of that, so it's like, alright, now there's several things to worry about that cook our deck. So just going through the standard chant into Sky Striker line. He's, adding the engage. And looking at our hand, we have a lot to worry about. So he just searches the Widow Anchor. We searched the MST earlier. MST obviously cooks our field spell. The Widow Anchor cooks our Diabell Star. So there's a lot to worry about here. And he's adding Limnus Gate in the end phase, and he reset Engage. So he has follow-up with the Engage, and he can break our board with the Limnus Gate. So we've got to make a lot happen through 4 back row. And we know what 3 of them are. And then he drops an Imperm on the Diabell Star, which is like, you know what? This is a lot better than the Widow Anchor, because the Widow Anchor would have taken, but we get to keep our Diabell Star, meaning we activate the field spell, which we drew a second copy of, which usually is pretty bad, but in this case, it's pretty damn good. So we can go into the Dark Magician of Destruction, and then he drops a Droll, and I'm like, I wasn't going to search more anyway. So we overlay into a Typhon. Typhon clearing out this Shizuku. He has no Ray Engrave, so there's no follow-up. And then he doesn't activate anything else. He lets all the sets, he lets everything go through. He still has the MST and everything. So this is like weird. So you know what? I'm like, let me get this Dragoon out, and let me get this Typhon off the field so he can negate. He doesn't chain anything. Never set the MST. He lets me eradicate him for 5 for free. He doesn't chain Limnus Gate. He doesn't chain Linkage. Nothing. And he just lets everything get popped. Diabolos is coming back out. He's got just a Ray. And then he goes, alright, yeah, you got it. And it's like, he clearly had so much more, but maybe he didn't realize what was going on. Maybe he never saw Eradicator. But yeah, that's how it goes sometimes, man. Sometimes you just lose like 15 cards because you don't know what's going on. Alright. In our next duel, we win the coin flip against Run to My Fade. And we have a pretty good hand. Metamorphosis is unfortunately not doing anything, but we can go to our standard combo with the Lilith. I love opening combo with Lilith. Opening combo with Lilith is the greatest thing ever. So we add our Gaze, we tribute off the Dark Magician of Destruction, we summon out Arcielago, and now Arcielago is going to search for our Wanted. And here's what's cool, we can tribute the Arcielago with the Lilith, because it's basically free, because the Hallowed Azamina can send it back to the extra deck and add itself back. And we get some free value out of it. We got our Metaverse, which is always nice. And then the Wanted we have is free fodder for the Hallowed Azamina. And we can grab our Diabell Star for free. It's a free discard for our Dragoon, basically. And then we get our first negate out. And we get a nice virus. We're gonna draw a card, and it's a super poly. And this is a pretty damn stacked end board. So he's discarding this guy to add the bonding. He's playing Magnet Warriors, of course. He's gonna add off of this Magnet Bonding, and this guy's gonna Foolish too, and then summon back. And then one of the ones he Foolishes summons back, and then that Foolishes and then summons back. So we're gonna go for the Metaverse here because they rely on having Earths, and they try to Ash it, and I'm like, this is just too important to miss out on. And I Ilia Sylvia to negate it. Our Lair goes up, and then I'm like, you know what, this is a pretty good virus. He has a bunch of monsters on the field. We can hit this. We destroy one in the hand, 3 from the field. I mean, 1 in the field, 3 in the hand. And he doesn't even want to deal with the Dragoon and everything else. And he ducks the Fade. His name is Run My Fade, but he's out here ducking the Fade. Alright, we're kind of flying through these replays. Like I said, some of them are on the shorter side because you resolve a virus and they just go, you know what, kind of over. So we open up pretty damn good once more. The Diabell Star, the Lilith, and this time we hard open the Eradicator. So we obviously need Metaverse now, and I'll sweep this part up because we've kind of seen it. Yeah, so we have the Hallowed Azamina, so we get the Determination. Determination's a really cool card. It lets us summon a fusion during our opponent's turn, so we can summon Ilia Sylvia for a negate during our opponent's turn, or we can summon Soul for Ascend. So we get our Metaverse, we add this back. We have Azamina, chain the Wanted, for our free value. Get our Ilia Sylvia, and then we get a free draw, and it's Sinful Spoil's Betrayal. So he goes for the Imperm here, and I go, alright, I'm going to chain a bunch of stuff to see if he changes things to this. So I chain this, he doesn't impulse it or whatever. I chain Metaverse, he doesn't Ash it, and I'm like, alright, well, our thing's getting negated, and unfortunately we couldn't get the value off of it, but it is what it is. So we summon out our Dragoon, and this guy gets negated, and he's playing Soulful Chord, which usually means Soulful Chord Yummy. And yeah, he searches off of this, and he goes for a Link Rebo, and then he summons the Lollipopo, and I go, you know what? If I just tribute this, it's pretty devastating. And then he has the surprise to summon it back. And I'm like, alright, well, he definitely doesn't have another Yummy in hand. Otherwise, he would have just followed up with that. So, I'm going to go for the Soul. And on the Resolution, I'm going to send it away. And now he's going to go for Soulful Chord Happiness, which is a really strong card. So, I'm like, I got to negate this. he sends just a spell, and I go, you know what? I'm gonna tribute the Dragoon so he can't droplets it, and we're gonna see what the last card in his hand is. There's another spell card, gone, and then droplets just negates the soul, which is pretty irrelevant. And then he just scoops. We didn't eradicate it for like 6, but we really did a good job on keeping him off of his yummy stuff and link ones to go into his synchros and whatnot, because the synchros are kind of harder to deal with. Like, yeah, we contribute them for cost, but like they don't fit the bill for any viruses or anything, except for full force, the defense one, because I think they're really low on attack. The yummies are just generally low on attack. So, and we already use our tribute, so we have to be really careful with that. So yeah, we got this one. We played it really well. All right, we win the coin flip once more. This time our hand is pretty damn bad, and he drops a fool on us. So we could have comboed with the deception, tributing the Magnamut, but into Fua, not a fun idea, not a good idea. So we're just gonna set one virus and set the metaverse and hope for the best. And he's playing VS K9, which is a pretty damn strong deck to try and go against. He's gonna go for his Holly Sue, Jokel, reveal Holly Sue, Royal Jokel. And I'm like, you know what? I want to keep him off the Azuna. And we get a lot of value off this deck dev for 4 monsters. And then in the end phase, we're going to add another field spell. And because we treated our opponent's monster during their turn, they get a token, which means Magnamut can banish something, summon himself out in their end phase, and then add Diabolos. So like now we're looking pretty solid. We have a couple of things we can do. Top like the Diabell Star. Now we have a million things we can do. And we start off by sending away the Diabolos. Super free send. We get another Deception, just kind of cuz. I like having 2 of these up because it has another effect when it's face up on the field. If you control a fusion and a monster is sent to your opponent's graveyard, you can gain 1,500 life points, and your opponent loses 1,500 life points. Pretty damn solid, pretty damn cool. We summon out Dark Magician of Destruction, add this, and then just because he's playing K9 VS and he fooled me, we're gonna go for the ultimate disrespect. We're gonna clear his board completely. We're gonna summon out the soul, send away his field spell, and then we're just gonna attack for game here. And we have more than game because we have the gaze and everything. So yeah, that was a very satisfying duel. It was pretty damn fortunate that he opened up the worst of the or the lowest level of the lowest attack points possible monsters, which is pretty funny. All right, here we are once again. If you've noticed, a couple of these duels, most of these duels are in the WCS qualifier from last month. Yeah, it's just been a minute since I was able to do this. So we have Radiant Typhoon here. Once again, Sky Striker Mate. You know where this is going. Our hand, pretty good, pretty damn good. And you know, he's doing his usual thing. He's drawing a bunch of cards. He's getting a bunch of stuff. And he goes for the Camellia, and we know what's happening here. Sending his Engage, summoning his Kagari, adding back his Engage, and he just randomly change chant. Randomly changes linkage. He didn't really need to do all this in one chain. It was a little random, but hey, man, whatever gets things going. He adds an MST, which is like, alright, here we go again. And then he's getting another Engage. So he's going to engage after thinning his deck a bit, getting a Widow Anchor, drawing a free card. He's going to engage once more, getting a Ray for some reason. I guess he's kind of full on back row, so he doesn't have a Ray Engrave, so we just go for the Magnamut in the end phase, you know, because we don't want him to chain Widow Anchor or something stupid to it, so we want to keep it around. So in the draw phase, we go for our wanted. It goes through, and it's like, yes, we get our Duel star. We have 2 deceptions in our hand. So, you know, what we set off of this is basically free, but he Widow Anchors it. And of course, he's going to take it to keep us off of the Dark Magician of Destruction. So we go for a deception. Before we activate the effect, he pops it, which makes sense because we have the Diabolos engraved. So I'm like, you know, this guy's kind of smart. But we have a second one, and he pops it once again before we even activate the effect. And it's like, what the hell, man? MST and Fallen on this? So we go for the wanted to draw, because we have 2 of them engraved. One of them's going to come back in the end phase. Only one of them can come back anyway. So the ever-reliable Typhon really comes in clutch in this deck. And he's going to Lemnis Gate, and I'm like, fuck, man. And he only sends back 2, and I'm like, this guy doesn't know how Lemnis Gate works. And then I bounce the 0, and it can't activate its effect because it's 3k. And we actually don't want to attack her with the Duel star. We can keep her on the field. We can keep her as like super poly fodder or whatever we need her to be. And then he goes to pop it. And I'm like, you know what, this is fine because we can send away the deception. We can summon it back because the deception's basically free. And we can set back another deception. And then he Widow Anchors it once more. So the idea was because we have determination, we could possibly put the deception back, but things don't always work out. So he normal summons the Ray, and I'm like, yeah, before he can do anything, I'm just going to super poly it away into Mud Dragon. Mud Dragon, called Dark here, it's actually really good, because now he can't target this or the Typhon. Can't out either one of them. And then he tries to shuffle back the determination, and I'm like, I don't think so, buddy. I put back the wanted, and I summon out the Ilya Sylvia on his turn. In defense, of course. And he drops another Lemnis Gate, and I'm like, surely he's learned his lesson. And he did not learn his lesson, but he has the linkage. And I'm like, yeah, we can't let that linkage slide, so we negate the linkage. And obviously this Lemnis Gate is going to do nothing. Which is funny that you mess up a card twice. So I activate the field spell, and he goes to summon back my Ilya Sylvia, and I'm like, this is interesting, because obviously he has a negate now, but if I attack over it, I get to add a trap. So I get to add the Morian, which like is not that useful against this deck because there's not a lot to book. So you know, it's a little goofy, but it's basically it's pretty damn free, so I can't even complain. And then he shuffles it back. And he top deck Array, and I'm like, alright, we're still in here, we're still fighting, we gotta keep this going. He's gonna add, of course, he's gonna add an engage. Of course, he's gonna search for Widow Anchor, which unfortunately for him, he can't target my monsters. At least not right, at least now he can. He sets 2, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna get this Sinful Spoils back, and the field spell is going to summon a token to his field, which is going to turn off his quick play spells, because now he has a monster in the main monster zone. And I activate the deception, and once again he has something for it. This is like the 15,000th time he's popped my deception. I go to attack the Ray, and then he has a Droplets, and I'm like, wow, that Droplets is kind of hurting right now. So the deception's gonna come back, and his Array is gonna get him another Link monster, a Shizuku, so he can search. And then our deception comes back, and this is funny. I've never seen a Typhon at 0 because of the Shizuku and the Droplets. He's a little guy now, but now he's back to normal. We got a couple of tokens. He's got a couple of cards. He gets the Vision. And he's going to add back the MST, which is pretty rough. He's going to pop the deception again. He's going to attack over our token, put his token in attack mode. And now we're in a pretty good spot. We get another deception. There's nothing you can do about this one. We're going to send it we're going to tribute it for cost. So it's not by card effect, so Ray doesn't proc. It's very important. Our deception finally goes through. And I know he's got to be like mauling at the other end of this. So we're going to send away his Widow Anchor so we can't steal anything. And then we're going to Metamorphosis and summon out Garura. Because I really want to draw here. I really want to draw something here. Because we just need more resources. And I just go for the simple IP Masquerena. And then we're just going to draw another card. The Bellstar. And the Bellstar is just going to pop off. Going to get us it's going to set us to Wanted. And we can send the Wanted away to summon out Arceolago. And then he's like, you know what, I've seen enough. The deception, it resolved, and he just couldn't handle it. He just melted. After stopping it so many times, he had to stop it like 4 or 5 times. Which makes sense, you know, it's a really strong card, it's really powerful, but it comes back, and most of his stuff was like just once. I mean, unless he like fallen like 3 times, but it didn't happen. Yeah, he really tried to stop him from happening. This is a really weird looking board. This Typhon stayed around way too long, but this was a fun duel, back and forth. This is like 8 turns long. And he also just scooped. He should have just let it play out. He did mad stuff. He should have just let his dailies get some missions done, get some missions in. But hey, I guess it was just too much for the guy. But we got it. And it was a fun back and forth duel. All right, this time we lose the coin flip, but we've got a pretty good hand for going second. We've got Super Poly, we've got the Field Spell. He's playing Castiras, but it doesn't really matter. There's not much the Castira stuff can really do to me. He can pop a random back row, doesn't really matter. But he's also playing Fiendsmith, and it's like, you know, we'll speed this up. We know what the Fiendsmith stuff's gonna do. But Birth is pretty annoying in the long run. The Birth has to get outed. Thankfully, we opened the Eradicator, so as long as we don't play into the Birth too much, it has to banish 3. So as long as we don't have 3 in grave, we're gonna be pretty fine. All right, so he's gonna summon out his Desiree. Look at this banish. He banishes 2 1-ofs and a Lilith. Lilith would have been really good, but it is what it is. And he's gonna go Gear Materials into a Rise Heart. And this is a Dark Machine and a Light Fiend. So obviously Super Poly is not live. So we activate the Field Spell. He lets it happen. And we Super Poly his board away. Which is pretty good. That's pretty good. We summon out the Starving Venom. And then he can Desiree. So of course he sends that away because he doesn't want to get OTK'd. And we hard open the Hollow Azamina and Wanted, which is really cool. So we can get our fusion off. We can get our Diabell Star to hand. So we're gonna summon out Soul, and we're gonna send away his back row in case it's anything crazy. It's a Call by the Grave. Nothing's in the grave. And then we're gonna summon out our Diabell Star, sending away the Soul, which is pretty free because now Hollow Azamina can add itself back. And we have no more targets for Deception, so we just go for the fusion here. We just summon our Ilia Sylvia for a negate. And of course, we're gonna draw one off of our Wanted. And it's another Field Spell, which is like, you know what, at that point we should have just kept the Deception engraved. But still pretty decent. So we set our Eradicator. No tokens. And here's what I'm thinking. We can Eradicator the Diabell Star right away. Clear this out. He can't summon any more Castiras. We can load his hand, see what he's got. But I'm like, you know what? We'll wait. He summons a Castira from the hand. We tribute it, call spells. He has 4 spells. And then he's like, yeah, he's just gotta end it there. Thankfully, he didn't Birth summon back instead. Which makes sense. I guess he was waiting on it. So we're gonna link these 2 off because we gotta clear the board out. We gotta put that guy in grave. So we're gonna beat Cop, tribute their token for cost, put a token or a counter on our Field Spell, send this back, send the Morion from our hand, summon out Soul, and that's just 100 more than than necessary for a game. We set the Morian back just in case. And that's gonna finish him off. This was a crazy board. There was actually like pretty layered interaction. Super probably definitely did a lot there, but if he didn't banish the top of our deck, we would have drawn the Lilith, which means activating the field spell, normal summoning the Lilith, and tributing their Desiree would have it would have banished the Desiree and the 2 link monsters attached to it, which would have been really strong. Obviously, he still would have had the Arise Heart, which would have been a pain to deal with, but we had the Eradicator set, and we also could have went Lilith into Typhon, and then it can't activate because it's 3k. So I'm gonna go Typhon effect, bounce it, which actually would have been pretty much the same result. So if we didn't have the Super Poly, but we had the Lilith there instead, that would have been pretty damn cool. Alright, and that is going to bring us into our last replay. I know it's been a lot. I hope you guys like all the replays, even though they're on the short side. And then we're going to win the coin flip. We're going to go first. And we draw the absolute homie that is Alice. Alice is really good just in niche hands, but she's really, really good with Deception, because Deception contributed from the hand. So he's going to go Holly Sue, reveal Azuna. And we're obviously going to be playing into the Azuna because Alice tributes and activates Engrave. I mean, when it gets tributed, it activates Engrave. So we're going to add the Lilith, which is really cool. We get to add the Lilith off of no normal summon whatsoever. So we get to normal summon her. Which is weird that I don't normal summon her before summoning the RCL Aga, because it's actually pretty important that resolves. So if they had like Imperm or Veiler, rather, that would have been tricky. We're going to draw onto another Lilith, of course, when you don't need it, but it's good for follow-up, so. We're going to send our Morian away to fuse. We're going to make our Ilia Sylvia. And then he's going to go for Azuna here, and I'm like, I don't really care. I have the Super Poly for your Lupus. So, before we even activates the Lupus, you know, not to waste anyone's time, I just Super Poly the Lupus and the Holly Sue away. Both of them are the biggest threats. And fortunately, I can only summon a Mud Dragon, but hey, Mud Dragon's cool. And I'm going to call Dark so nothing can get targeted. And then I'm going to set our Morian Blade back. I'm going to set our Metaverse, we get our Diabell Star back, and we're looking pretty good. I'm going to call Dark so that he can't target any more of our stuff. I'm going to call spell cards. He's going to chain spell cards. And then called by the Lilith, which is actually a pretty good move here, because that means Lilith is not going to set another trap. We looked at his hand. Azuna, I believe it was Azuna Ash, and I didn't see what the other one was. Oh, I think it was the one that burns and draws. Borger, I think. So, yeah, he's got like 2 life cards. I hit the Metaverse. He has to chain the Ash here, because what he has now can't play into it at all. Flips this to attack, attempts to attack it. I book it, and he's like, you know what? There's nothing he can do in this situation. And yeah, we get that. Pretty simple. So yeah, this is the deck that we played. Some new stuff has come out. So some new little changes to tweak this deck a little bit. Obviously 2 Super Poly hurts because this is the main board breaker. So there are a lot of crazy boards in Master Duel. You really need the Super Poly to break a lot of boards. And the new Starving Venom came out. The Starving Venom replacement. I think we can look at related cards, and it's not here. Maybe we can go to Predaplants and find it. Yes, here it is. Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, 4 Heavenly Dragons. This completely replaces the Starving Venom. It's this card's absolutely insane. 2 dark monsters on the field, same materials as Starving Venom. If this card is special summoned, target 1 other face-up monster in the field, change its attack to 0, negate its effects, and it becomes a dark, which is like pretty damn crazy effect on the Super Poly target. You can clear out 2 of your opponent's monsters, negate another one. That's more than enough already, but it does even more. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you can fusion summon 1 dark fusion monster from your extra deck using dark monsters on either field, including this card. So you negate something, make it a dark, and then you go, you know what, I want to clear that out. Or maybe they have more darks that they're playing depending on their deck, and you can go from super polying into this to this effect, basically super polying into Draco's Depilia. So you can get another monster negate on top of the first one while clearing out a bunch of bodies, which is an absolutely crazy combo. Which, you know, really makes sense on why they limited Super Poly and Master Duel. That card's not even out in the TCG. So that card changes things up, fixing up the main deck a little bit to try and make up for the Super Poly loss. It's just some tiny tweaks here and there. I don't think I'm going to make an update video for it anytime soon, unless the deck changes a lot, unless there's more random sinful spoil stuff that works, or I go for like a different combo, or maybe I don't go for Dragoon, but I go for some more combo oriented stuff. Well, the Dark Magician of Destruction, I don't know, but I'm focused on some other decks right now. I have a lot of decks that I've built that I need to get replaced for some other decks, so I wanted to get this one out the way. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far, you know, definitely make sure you like and comment and all that. It would mean the world to me. So thank you guys for watching. Take care.